ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. At the beginning of this month, Guruji used to explain the initial slides up to 10th verse, I think. So in all the scripture, if you come across what to practice and what are all the results and how to practice, everything is given. But whenever we start any practice or any sadhana, then only we come across the problems or the obstacles or the while you proceeding through any kind of sadhana. Here in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadrudham tasyaham nigraham mange vayorivasu dushkaram. Means, once you start any sadhana, immediately the mind becomes very turbulent, very flickering, and it's completely duality maybe. So, how to overcome? Chanchalam hi manah Krishna prama, even to control the mind, to bring the mind to a balanced state, it's very difficult. As we are unable to control or unable to avoid the air or the wind, in the same way, the mind always in the state of chanchala. Because the nature of the mind is to be chanchala. We cannot control it. We cannot avoid it. As we see the water, the nature of water is to flow. The nature of the fire is to burn. In the same way, the nature of the wind is to blow. So we cannot avoid it. So the mind nature is to be chanchala. So that you cannot avoid it, that you cannot control it. But how we can overcome this inability of the mind? The Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahyate. Through the practice and the detachment, Abhyasa and Vairagya, one can overcome all the dualities, all the chanchalata, the flickering of the mind. So here, there are two kinds of people. In the same next verse, Krishna says, one who is able to balance the emotions like raga and dvesha, they can easily maintain the equilibrium of the mind. But as we are common people, as we are dealing with the daily business, maybe studying our business or whatever the action we come across, as we are the common people, straight away we cannot overcome our emotions like raga and dvesha because they are so subtle and so strong. That's why the Hatha Yoga way of practice prefers in some other way. For the practitioner of Hatha Yoga, one who follows the path of Hatha Yoga, so what are all the obstacles comes in a normal day-to-day life? So Swatmarama keep on explaining which are all the 6 aspects going to failure of sadhana. Okay? Atyaharaha, prajalpaha, atyaharaha, prajalpaha, niyamagraha, janasangascha, laulyancha, and prayasaha. Atyahara prayasascha, prajalpo niyamagraha, janasangascha laulyancha, shadbhir yoga vinashyati. So here there are 6 aspects. One will come across every day. Because these are the aspects are directly connected to the people who are in the daily day-to-day life. Atyahara, how it can change or it can lead the mind to chanchala sthiti. If you take the food, if you consume the food, if it is too much of food, you will become more lethargy, more lazy. If you take some more aggressive food like spicy food, then you will become more aggressive, more chanchala, and your metabolic activity and everything becomes speed. Because of that, the blood circle, everything, it corresponds to the mind. So it becomes always aggressive. You cannot control over there. So Swatmarama says, one who is going through the sadhana, first he has to control over the food. There is real sadhana starts. That's what Krishna says, yuktahara viharasya. Prayasaha. If you put more and more physical exertion, if you perform more and more physical activities, then the body becomes tired. Then also, even if you sit for any sadhana or meditation, mind cannot be in the tranquil way. Prayasaha prajalpaha. And we have the habit of talking always. You just imagine how much we speak to others or how much speak to us only. That means prajalpaha, it is a too much talkativeness. Because we are going, whatever the emotions we get in the mind, we are going to express through our words. So in the same way, the prajalpa means one of the quality, negative quality, where sadhaka used to maintain the silence, but instead of that, because of our talkativeness, because of our many action we come across, the business we do every day, because of those actions, the mind becomes so chanchala and we express through our words, that is prajalpa. Then, atyaharaha, prayasaha, prajalpaha, niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means too much rigidity to the rules. Whenever the situation demands, we must be very flexible to adjust to the situation. Otherwise, the rule itself binds us. So whenever you can understand the nature of the rules and regulations and the situations also, accordingly we have to be flexible in our sadhana. Don't become too much rigidity. Even the rigidity implies too much of aggressiveness, too much of tension and troubles and everything. Janasangascha laulyancha. Of course, we can maintain the tranquility, silence and everything once you avoid the company of a common people. So Janasanga, whenever we come across the attachment with the people, that makes you speak more and more, that makes you to be chanchala more and more. So here, one has to avoid the company of the common people who drags us to materialistic life. And the last aspect is laulyancha. Laulya means because of all these characters, negatively charged qualities, one will become more and more chanchala. Laulyancha means duality, flickering of the mind. So here, all these 6 qualities in a common day-to-day life, we come across. So, how to control abhyasena to kaunteya and vairagyena cha guhyate. So, abhyasa through practice as well as the detachment. Patanjali, all of you know how the sutra goes in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Abhyasa, it is not like we are practicing today and stop and again we start after a week like that. Thus, abhyasa must be satul dirghakala nairantarya satkara sevito drudhabhumi. To establish in our practice, whatever we practice, one has to go through dirghakala, continuity. We cannot stop in between. Nairantarya, every day one has to practice. Satkara sevita, and with lot of shraddha and faith. Example, every day most of the students may think that Maitrimilan session is an imposed decision. Okay, most of the students think. Some of them may be interested to come every day, but many of the students think that it is an imposed decision. But even though, as it is compulsory and the coordinator, everybody will take the attendance and all, the student used to come. Okay. They are very regular, every day they are coming. Dirghakala, and throughout the semester they will come without missing any day. If you look at the attendance, 100% attendance, very regular. But after 6 months, if you ask the memorization of the shlokas, whatever the subject matter discussed or spoken by here, then he cannot reproduce anything because he is very regular and continuously is coming. No shraddha, no faith. By imposed decision, he is attending the Maitrimilan. So in that sense, even if you practice throughout the year, then it becomes waste. So abhyasa must be followed by the faith and the shraddha. Then only the results can be achieved. And vairagya. Vairagya means it is not a abhava vairagya. It is not the detachment we get in the absence of the situations or the materials or the things. So one should understand the nature of the situations or the objects. Once you come across the nature, then you can understand how to detach from the situations as well as the things. The Patanjali gives a beautiful two formula again. Drishta anashravika vishaya vitrishtasya vashikara sanya vairagyam. Drishta and anashravika. We come across the objects of enjoyment as well as the unseen, anashravika. Okay? A yogi or a practitioner should not be tend to enjoy the things even once we come across the things as well as the unseen objects. In both the situation, he must maintain the tranquility, that neutrality of the mind. Okay, say example, if I keep something here too, which is very most eatable and delicious, your tongue should not secrete the saliva. Say example, one of the disciple went to some Ramakrishna Ashrama Swami, sannyasi. He asked, I want sannyasa diksha. So he did not ask any questions and he put a smart test. Okay, just 5 minutes test, I will check you. If you pass, I will give the sannyasa diksha. He has given a stone sugar and asked him to put in the mouth. And he asked to come back after 5 minutes. Then he came back. Then that sannyasi asked to open the mouth. Then that disciple, one who was about to take the sannyasa diksha, he just opened the mouth. And he asked, where is the stone sugar? How it can be? It is already melt. Then you are not eligible for the sannyasa diksha because your sense organs still reacting with the objects. If you are in the state of calmness or the tranquility or the neutrality, your sense organs may not be tend to enjoy that stone sugar. If you are so tranquil, then the stone sugar will be as it is in the mouth. That means you have not conquered your sense organs. So, wherever we come across the seen or the unseen objects of enjoyment, we must maintain that neutrality so that we can develop the kind of detachment, abhyasa and vairagya. So, through abhyasa and vairagya, continuously we can, if one who strive forward, then only he can transcend the mind. Not controlling or not abiding. We can transcend the mind. We have to go beyond the mind. So that is the state where Krishna gives more and more importance, raga and dvesha. Once, if you overcome the emotions like raga and dvesha, mind is always be settled down in the tranquility so that the further practices are very easy. So in this aspect, we have to analyze ourselves how far we are proceeding being a students of yoga. Whether we are practicing something every day, otherwise simply it becomes bookish knowledge. The bookish knowledge doesn't give any experiences. So you stick on to something and keep on practicing. But all the Shastras, the Yoga Sutra prefers only one practice, that is Omkara. Tajjapaha tadartha bhavanam tasya vachakah pranavaha. Patanjali says, only the Omkara is to be meditated. The Omkara is here not an image, not a kriya it is. It is the nada, It is the sound one we have to meditate on. So in all the Upanishads, in Yoga Sutra, whichever you take, even in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Nadhana Sandhana, gives importance for the meditation on Om. So the being a Om as the meditating object, let us strive forward in our practice so that we can transcend our mind from the chanchalata or the flickering. So this we have to analyze every day as the students of yoga. So let us achieve that the states of yoga whichever prescribed in the text. Hari Om. Sit straight. Close the eyes. Just focus, concentrate at the tip of the nostril. Here you should be a witness, you should be a Sakshi Bhava. As a third person, just watch out the inhalation as well as exhalation. Don't put any your physical effort to breathe in and out. Let the whole process of breathing becomes slow, rhythmic and deep. Chale vatam, chale chittam, nischale nischalam bhavet. Once the prana becomes controlled, then correspondingly the mind becomes neutral, still. Once the mind becomes still, then we can transcend from the state of mind to Unmani Bhava, where there are no emotions, no thoughts. With slow, deep, rhythmic breathing, let us maintain the tranquility and equilibrium of the mind correspondingly. Let us maintain the same peaceful mind, the calmness and the tranquility throughout the day. Let us be aware of the activities we come across. Let's conclude the session. Adopt Namaskara Mudra. Om.